Hey everyone, and welcome to another Sasquatch Theory podcast. Today, I am joined by Mathew from the state of Michigan. For more than 20 years, Mathew claims he has been encountering strange activity deep within the forests and river systems of Michigan. What started as a passion for camping and studying wildlife slowly turned into a series of terrifying and fascinating encounters with massive upright creatures that he believes are Sasquatch. From hearing screams echoing through the woods at night to finding massive tracks in remote areas to coming face to face with giant creatures standing silently beside a juvenile in the forest, Mathew says these experiences change the way he views the wilderness forever. If you enjoy listening to Sasquatch Theory, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to hit the bell notification. And if you have your own Bigfoot or cryptid encounter you would like to share with me here on Sasquatch Theory, feel free to reach out sometime at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. With all that being said, let's dive straight into Mathew's Bigfoot encounters from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Mathew, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much for asking. Mathew, if you would, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your experiences from the very beginning, please.
Oh, all right. From the beginning. All right. I'm Matt. I'm from Michigan. I've been having experiences probably, I'd say 22, maybe about 22 years now. I'm thinking, and yeah, it started. I spent about 2-3 months camping, and then I had some strange things start happening. I picked a good camping spot on some state land over in the Port Huron State Game area, and then I learned all the animals' routines. I learned where the deer were coming through. I learned all kinds of stuff. I wanted to make sure I didn't have a group of coyotes or something coming through my camp hauling at 2 a.m. And then the one night before I went to bed, there was over where the deer would cross the road, right before dark, there was this loud, strange scream. And it was just weird because I didn't think Bigfoot was around here. And then I put it in the back of my mind and didn't try not to think much of it. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, man, maybe there's something out here. And it could possibly be fairly a human type thing. So I took a bunch of fish. I took like 8 fish and then like 2-pounders. And it rained recently and there was a steep, muddy bank. And I put them all there. I reached as far as I could and then I tossed them a little bit. So like anything that got these things would have to leave a track or a mark or something. So I'm like, all right, I'll leave these overnight. And this was like I was just sleeping on the ground with just a tarp over top of me on an angle. And this was like 10 or 12 feet from my head. And then so I fell asleep. I got up the next morning and all the fish were gone. All the fish were gone, and then there were no marks in the mud or anything. There were just scale prints from the fish I could see. So whatever picked them up, picked them straight up to where they didn't slide at all, make any type of mark. It was just straight scale marks. I couldn't believe it in the mud. And there were no claw marks, no fingerprints, no nothing. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something out here and it's smart. I mean, it must have known when I was sleeping. It came in and then it took all the fish. So then I started searching. That's when I realized, yeah, there's something out here. And then after that, I figured, well, I got to broaden my search area to find out what's out here. And then I went down to another section of the river It wasn't far. It was probably it was only like 100 yards from where I was. And then I got hit with the fear, and then it was weird because it was like it was an unnatural fear, like something was creating it. And then ever since then I got hooked. After that, that's when I set camp right there, and then I had a lot of stuff happen. I had so the group was across the river, and then I ended up like the juveniles wanted to come to the water, and since I was there, they couldn't come down to the water, so they'd shake trees and stuff to try and get me out of there. But then I stayed, and then the one night they ended up touching my tent, but they wouldn't let me see them. And then I started finding tracks and all that, and then they wouldn't let me see them, so I ended up traveling all over Michigan. I went up to Roscommon, to Grayling. I started researching it, so I I ended up finding areas where people had sightings, and then I just went on Google Maps and I found the best areas I could where I thought they would be, where there's a water source and they're away from people. And then now I think I've seen 5 or 6 different ones. So so yeah, do you got any questions or anything right now?
No, I don't have any questions so far. If you would tell me about the 6 different individuals that you encountered, what happened for each incident?
Um, all right. Each sighting. So try and start with the first. The f- the first sighting was probably in Roscommon. I had I had weird stuff happening. Like, all right, we'll start with that. So what happened was I went up there, found a camping spot. I had on a 2 track. I found like an intersection, and then I went I went I got all set up. I went hiking around, and I go off trail. I do everything like they say to stay on trails and stuff. I do the opposite of that. So I'd find a spot on a map, and then I'd circle the whole area, and then I'd try and stay off trails. So so I was walking along, and then I heard this growl, and then it turned into a laugh in some bushes in front of me. And it sounded like a juvenile, and then I walked up to the bush where I heard this, and then there was nothing there, and then that kinda freaked me out. So, I didn't see nothing, and then I got back to my campsite, and then in the center of this intersection of this true 2 track, there was a large footprint right in the middle, a a perfect track that was probably 14, 15 inches, and then so what I did, I started walking around it to try and find other tracks, and I tried to find, like, outside of the sandy area from the 2 track where the grass was disturbed, and I could never find nothing, and then I ended up and then I was hiking the one time, and I was on the 2 track to get to an area, and then I looked over to my left, and, yeah, I seen a big one, big brown one. It was brown, it looked kinda like a Neanderthal, it was massive. And then I seen a juvenile in front of it, and then the adult had his hand, like, hanging down off the juvenile's shoulder, and he was just standing there watching, and he was big. Like, the juvenile was probably my size. I'm 230, 5'11", and then, yeah, he was big. He was it was I didn't feel nothing. They didn't seem aggressive or anything. They seemed more curious than anything. And I had my girlfriend with me when that happened, so I didn't say nothing. I didn't tell her. I didn't want to freak her out. I figured if she's seen anything, she wouldn't want to go back in the woods again with me. So then we kept walking. And then that was the first one. And then after that, I heard a hunter got chased out of the woods up in Luzerne. And then I went up there and then I set up camp. I was setting up camp. I just got there. And it was one of them times where everything was super quiet. And I'm like, man, I'm in the perfect spot. It's real quiet. Like anything could happen. So I'm kind of excited. It's like that eerie quiet. And then I look over through the woods. I could see pretty good in this section. And like 30 yards away, there's a deer standing there and it's like huffing, like it's out of breath, like something's just been chasing it. And then I'm like, I was gonna stand behind a tree, but there were no trees where I was at. So I ended up just standing there watching it. It stayed like 3 minutes and caught its breath, and then it just trotted off and went into a thicker section. And then I ran out of water. It was real hot that day. It was like 85, 90. So I had to go down. I take a water filter with me, so I had to go down to like the swampy area and fill up my water bag. So then I got down there. It it's creepy. It's like dark. It's it's dark and everything's real like confined. So then I go in there and then I get to the swampy area where the ground's real mushy just going up to it. So I fill my water bag and then I'm headed back towards my camp. And then I see these deer tracks from the deer from earlier. So, and then it's like it knows how to get through here. It knows it's like where the ground's the firmest to step on. So I'm like, all right, I'll follow these deer tracks. So I follow these deer tracks and then I come up to a 2-track to where it crosses in front of me. And then I'm looking at the ground and I can only see the prints of the one deer. And then on top of the 2-track, there's prints all over. It's all sporadic looking. I'm like, I got all excited. I'm like, something happens here. I'm going to look at these tracks and figure this out. And then, what did I heard a stick break. And then it was standing probably 12 feet from me, just up to the left, probably, yeah, 12 feet from me. So I seen its legs and then I looked up and you could see the sun on its back and it looked like bear fur, but it was the color of an orangutan. And then I had to squint because its fur was shiny. And then I remember that, and it had its head down, its hands together, and it had its feet together. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm thinking, man, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna get a good look at this thing. And you could see like where the shoulder blades were. Yeah, I mean, this thing, it was ripped. Like the back muscles, like where the shoulder blades were, it had like dimples. And then you couldn't see the spine, like the muscles came together and they like rolled in the center because they were protruding so far. And then like the biceps, like you could see the muscle fiber running up and down through the fur. Like it was amazing. And then the hands were jet black. And then the nails, the skin was a little lighter under them. And then it picked its arm up and then its right arm, and then it swung it to the side, and then it stepped straight across. So it was on the left side. It stepped over to my right side, and then swung its arm and stepped over, and then it took another step, and then like went behind me. And when it was stepping, I put my head down, and I turned and went the other direction. and just walked off. And it was terrifying, but it was terrifying and amazing at the same time. And then that was the second time I seen one. And then I had a real uneasy feeling there, like that was not a good place. I don't go back there much. I think the group was feeding on a deer behind me in the thick brush, and they were just trying to scare me off. And then after that, another one. The main group I try and figure out what I can about them. I try and figure out what they eat, what their migration routes are. The like main group, they took a long time for me to see them. Well, I just seen the one. I know because the tracks, I'm aware I can look at the tracks each year, and then in the same areas and time of year, I can see the same footprints. And then, so the one I seen, he uh he was all he was all black. What was I doing? Yeah, it was in the morning. I just got up from camping in a spot where I figured they were. And then I got up and I was just sitting in a chair drinking coffee by a creek. And then I just look up and then like 30 yards, he's just standing there looking at me. He's all black and then his face, he looked like an Indian. He had a light gray face and the sun was on him, and then like he had a strong brow ridge, so his eyes just looked dark. I couldn't see no whites or nothing to him, and he was probably 10 feet tall, and and yeah, I think he was curious with the camp. I don't know what it is. I think they're curious with the material of the tents and stuff. They're real curious about everything. It seems like, and let me think. I can't think of any other ones right now off the top of my head.
Yeah, you make a very good point about these things being very curious, and I feel like they make their move when we're not ready or when we're asleep. But yeah, I thought that was interesting to hear that they're just like curious about the material or possibly what's going on inside.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So did a lot of these encounters happen at the same state forest?
No, these were all different areas.
Different
Like
areas. Okay.
yeah, I've gone all over, and then yeah, then I'm finding out they're all different colors, they're all different sizes and shapes. Some got wide hips, some got skinny hips like basketball players. But I mean, it seems all the ones I've seen are really muscular. Like like it's just insane the muscles on these things.
No, yeah, absolutely. So going back to the beginning, you mentioned that you felt this fear that you've never felt before. Do you feel like they projected that on you or caused that using like infrasound? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think it's a form of telepathy because I've been hit with the infrasound, and I mean it's way different than the fear. Like I feel it in my chest. I get real disoriented if they hit me with the infrasound. It's disorienting, it's nauseating. Like I'll even know where I'm at, and and they'll hit me with that, and I'll still be disoriented and like not really know which way to go, even though I know where I'm at. It's crazy. And then, yeah, there's some type of telepathy going on. And then they know, like, because like a lot of nights they get dark early and down. And then, like, it's weird because they know when you're sleeping, they know when to come in, when they can come into an area and you're sleeping. And then I woke up to them walking away, and then I could hear them like the samurai chatter. So they were just going back and forth with each other.
Yeah, that's incredible. What do you think they were communicating to one another?
I had some apples out and they took them, and I was wondering, I think they were arguing about the apples. That's my opinion, but I have no idea what they were saying. I mean, even if I knew the language, it'd probably be hard because it seems like they talk so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting take, though. And I wonder what their language is like comparable to. Like, what other language or ancient language is it?
Oh, I think it's all different. I
Mhm.
think it's like the different Indian languages. They all got their own language.
Yeah, yeah, that very well could be. I often wonder if they have just like one universal language all throughout the world, or if they have different languages, just like what you said with the Native Americans.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. The more it seems like the more you learn, the more questions pop up.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that would be the way to communicate with them effectively is to learn their language, but that would be impossible. You'd have to live with one or live with their clans to actually know the language. But I feel like if we did, if we knew their language and we spoke it out loud, maybe that would bring them in closer.
Yeah. I think a lot of times they don't come in because I think safety's a big deal with them. I think I th I think safety and 'cause it they're always 'cause the group that mainly mainly researched, they got the day watchers, and then in the day, they'll stay in an area, and then when they move at night, after dark, the day watchers will move in front of them to make sure an area is clear before the family group moves through. So I think the main reason they stay away from it is safety issues, and I think they're of such a higher presence that we can't really handle their presence physically, and I think it's a way to keep us safe.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of sounds like that was a situation when you left the apples out. Like maybe one was upset that it came in closer and it was trying to warn it to stay away from people, or they were simply fighting over the apple.
Yeah, yeah, you never know.
Hmm. So Michigan's definitely a hot spot for Bigfoot. What do you think is the reason that they're there specifically? Do you think it's because of the Great Lakes, all the water, or do you feel like there's something else going on?
I think it's a combination of the water and the forest. They love they love the forest, and they love it seems like to be close to water. Yeah, and we got a lot of deer. I know they feed on the deer a lot. I think especially in the winter time, because in the summertime, I could tell, like, they're eating clams. Like, I've seen I've seen, like, their butt cheek prints in the sand and their heel marks, and then, like, the vegetation around them where it's been broken off and the vegetation's gone because 'cause they're probably eating it, and they get this it seems like actually what they're doing is they're going by the cycles of nature. Like, I think in the spring, they're eating the eggs from the nesting birds, and then, they're eating the nesting eggs, and then from there, they're moving, and then they're eating clams, and they're eating fish, and then they switch to the berries and the apples, and then they follow the seasons, and then when the deer migrate, I think I mean, not the deer, the birds, and they're eating the birds in the fall that are migrating. And then they got this routine where they eat certain things at certain times a year, and then that bases their movement. So, and when they're in different ecosystems, they're getting a routine in these areas where they got their routes covered, and and they all got different travel routines. But what I've noticed is a routine around by me in Michigan is they go about 5 miles per year, and then they'll just come back and start over and do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what would you say was the most wild experience that you've had out in the woods?
Um, Scary.
Like, what shook you up the most?
Oh man. All right. So this group I've been researching, I usually kind of leave them alone in the late part of the year. So I got a kayak from a buddy, and then I'm like, yeah, I got to try this. So I went down the river, and I didn't realize the river was low, and there were a lot of rocks, and it was brutal. I had my girlfriend drop me off. I'm like, just pick me up tomorrow. I'll camp somewhere. So then I kayaked for like 8 hours, and then my feet were destroyed, and it was starting to get dark, and I had to find a sandbar. So so I kept paddling, and I'm like, I'm not seeing nothing. It's starting to get dark, and I keep paddling, and then I find this sandbar, and I'm like, oh man, this is perfect. I gotta stay here. This is it. So then I get on this little like 12-foot by like 6-foot sandbar, just enough for my tent, a little fire, and the kayak. And then there's this like incline. There's this like hill. It's probably 7 feet high, 6, 7 feet. So then I go up there, and it's all stinging nettles, like it's so itchy, it's insane. It's like a field of it. So then I go through it. I go into it. I can only get a couple sticks, and then my legs are itching so bad. I ran back. I jumped down the bank, and then I jumped in the river and just wiped my legs down real good to stop them from itching. And I'm like, all right, yeah. And then I heard I heard a foot stomp and a branch break, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're here. And then I heard one up the hill by me. So they ended up I so I got surrounded basically. There were three of them, and I was like, and then there was this robin that was up there. There was a little tree by before the bank dropped off, and there was this robin, and it started going crazy because something was it was right by it. It must have had a nest or something, and then it made this real weird noise, like the Sasquatch caught it and squeezed it or something. It was really freaking weird. So I'm like, hey, and then I leave the bird alone, like the bird ain't doing nothing. Just and I think that one backed off. And then I didn't leave. I couldn't leave. My legs were destroyed. My feet were destroyed. Like I'm like, that ain't. They'll just if I'm calm, I stay calm. I just do my thing. These guys are gonna leave me alone. So then I end up going to sleep, falling asleep like 2 hours later. I just ignored them. They backed off. They're probably watching me the whole time. And then I'm like, I that doesn't bother me too bad. But and then I was sleeping. I got woke up to this. The one he makes like this bellow noise, like a lion bellow, and it woke me up. And then it was kind of irritating. So I'm like, hey. And then he did it again a little louder. And then I was like, hey, louder too. And then he did it louder. And I was like, hey, again. And then, oh my God, the scream he made was insane. And then he screamed, and then he shot straight across from me on the straight across the river. So he got way closer to me, and then he screamed again. And then I'm trying to get my shoes on, but the scream's so loud. Every time I try and get my shoes on and he screams, it's so loud I can't move. Like my head's vibrating. It's crazy. I think I'm gonna go deaf. It's so loud. And then so I yelled at him again, and then he ended up being over top of my tent screaming at me. He made another long, loud scream, and then he screamed at me right over top of me, and then I I unzipped my tent, I got my shoes on, and then I unzipped my tent and got out of there and stood up real fast and looked up, and there was nothing there. There was nothing there, and there wasn't no footprints, no nothing. I couldn't believe it. Like, he did that. He didn't even leave a track. And then the bank he ran across, I checked it the next, like, probably 3 days later, and it was crazy. I'm like, there's no way anything could have ran through what he ran through. But I mean, the power when they vocalize is it's just it's debilitating.
Oh yeah, it's out of this world, and nothing else compares to it.
No, like, like, especially if they're screaming loud and they're mad, like, there's nothing that can do that.
Yeah, they definitely let you know when they're not happy, and it will definitely rattle your bones.
Yeah, I think what happened was they wanted to bring the group down, the family group, to the river, and I was there. Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing with that. But I mean, I was stuck, like my feet were destroyed. Like I couldn't kayak a shallow river at night. I would hit rocks and tipped, and I put myself in kind of a bad situation that time.
No, yeah. Have you ever felt like your life was in danger?
Oh yeah. That's yeah, I mean, that's the weird part. Like you feel like your life's in danger, but you go through all this stuff over the years and you're like, well, you're still fine. I think I put my limit to where if they ever touch me and get actually physical, then I'm gonna draw the line and quit doing it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's terrifying stuff. It really is. Like a lot of it. Because I mean, they're so big. Like the hand was so big, it's like you're dealing with something that can rip you in half, basically. Like and I've heard these stories where they come to people's houses where they've made them mad and they come over and they lift up the side of their cabin and drop it when they're in it.
No, yeah.
Like,
There's a lot of peaceful stories with these creatures and a lot of terrifying ones.
yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people when they have the bad experience, they're hooked and then they think they're all demonic and out to get you, and then I don't know. I think there's all different kinds. There's good and bad.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. And it's just something you have to be prepared for. And I don't think you can ever really be prepared for it. But when you go out there, you got to expect that something horrible can happen. But for the most part, I feel like you're right. Like, they will terrify you, but if they wanted you, they could have had you.
Yeah, like I mean, I really think like living in a house is like a false sense of security. Like, I mean, I was thinking about it. I'm like, they're allowing us to do all this stuff what we do out in the woods. Like they're so big and fast and smart. Like there's nothing we can do, and
Hmm.
they just allow us to do all this stuff.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of them are good, but they can just change immediately. And I don't know. I can't remember what the story was. Maybe it was like Jane Goodall. Like they said that they were watching these chimps, like a family group of chimps, and they were just extremely peaceful for the longest time. And they would watch them over and over, and they had like the same routine. And one day when they went there to observe these chimps, like something changed, like they were all going nuts. And I think like the younger males were going to kill one of the older leader males, and they ate them. And it was freaky, just the way she described it. Like they were all
Wow.
really cool, and then just one day they just went essentially ape shit.
Yeah, I think, yeah, they seem to be very emotional.
Mm.
They are very emotional.
Yeah, I feel like they're unpredictable though, because for one, they don't trust us. Two, they're extremely elusive, and then three, there's all these theories as to what they are, whether it's like alien, demonic, Neanderthal, whatever it may be. It's terrifying any way you think of it.
Yeah. Yeah, their abilities are amazing.
Hmm. Yeah, because it doesn't
Like
matter
just
what they are, whether they came from another planet or they're some ancient human. Either way, they can still rip out a full size pine tree and beat you over the head with it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing one and getting in my car thinking, man, my car is nothing. He could probably pick my car up and throw it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's like what anxiety is. It's like the fear of the unknown. Like you don't know if you're going to lose your job. You don't know when you're going to take your last breath. And with these things, it's just like you don't know anything. And the more people you talk to, the more confused you get. You look for answers with like the government or science or religion. They don't really seem to know either. So like that, I don't know, that element right there just really is unsettling.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on with it.
Hmm.
And they don't want to talk about any of it.
No, yeah. I've tried to gauge these things. I've been around them many times, and it's like, oh yeah, they like apples, or they like this, or they'll do this, and it's always changing. And I'll go to a different area. It's like, oh, they followed me out of the woods after I was bow hunting. It seemed like it was going to get me, and then like I don't know, like the data is always changing. Like they don't have a set pattern. It's like, man, once you think you finally got something figured out, they do something completely different, or you hear somebody else's like testimonies that really flip your world upside down. It's like, man,
Yeah.
what am I dealing with out here? What else is out there? There's more stuff out there than Bigfoot. What the heck?
Yeah, that's what I'm at. I'm wondering what's out there we don't know about yet.
Hmm.
Like,
I wonder though, like if there are other cryptids, and other people have mentioned this. This isn't my own theory, but like, let's say there is something else out there that's not Bigfoot. When the Sasquatch come around your camp and they're warning you, either they're screaming or they're wood knocking, and they seem to be like relentless. Like they don't stop. Like, are they warning you that something else is around? Like, are they trying to get you out in the nicest way possible without revealing themselves? They're
yeah,
definitely
it's
trying to tell you something, though. That's how I feel.
that, and then they're so big and they're just throwing acorns at people and little pebbles. Like, it's like, man, they're really gentle with us about things.
Hmm. Yeah, that's common for them to throw like little pebbles or acorns, pine cones. But I've also heard of them throwing rocks like the size of softballs, the size of volleyballs, and then like the size of, I don't
Oh
know, like
man.
briefcases.
Wow.
I haven't experienced that. I think the biggest I've experienced is like a little bit bigger than a baseball. That's about it.
That's still big though. I mean, if they
Hmm.
whip something like that, I I wonder if they're using them on deer.
Yeah, I've heard that they do.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to see.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, it wouldn't be awesome for the deer, but if you were watching it,
No.
it'd just be, I don't know, it would be a show, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's wild.
yeah, I've seen photos where they've mangled up deer, coyotes, and it's pretty wild. Like, I've seen a photo of a horse, like where they twisted its head around, and like the head of the horse was pretty much touching like the tail. It's like, what could do that?
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've heard stories where they take the head off a bull. Like, I'm like the power of that is insane.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was watching a video the other day where this grizzly bear wasn't like a full size grizzly bear, was going after a full grown moose. And I was like, oh no, that grizzly bear isn't going to have a chance with that moose. And little by little, it worked it down, and then it pulled that moose down and ate it. I was like, wow, we don't stand a chance against grizzly bears, even the little ones.
No.
So imagine these things.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're killing bears. I had one. Yeah, I had one scare a bear off for me one time when I was up in the UP. Like they protect you too. I mean, yeah, I think that's what you were saying, where they throw pebbles and stuff to try and get you out of there for your safety. I think they protect us a lot too, and the people don't even realize it. I'm sure they've probably rerouted grizzly bears because they knew a hunter was coming and
Mhm.
they didn't want them to run into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And my thing about the demonic, I'm not saying they're not, because there is like supernatural stuff behind it. But my thing about them being demonic, which a lot of people say that in the comments, a lot of the viewers think they're demonic, is I've heard stories where, let's say, somebody was lost in the woods. The Sasquatch would follow this person just little by little, nothing scary. Just, they'd hear a noise. So they're like, oh, I'm going to go this way away from the noise, to where they push the person out to a county road when they were lost in the woods at night. And the person that told me that said, I feel like it like helped me find my way. Another one was a person that claims they were being stalked by a mountain lion, and the Sasquatch helped them. I can't remember if it like screamed at the mountain lion or got in between them, but it essentially saved that person from getting torn apart by a mountain lion. Another one was somebody got in a car wreck and the car was flipped, and they claim the Sasquatch came and pulled them out of the vehicle. So I feel like if they were demonic, they would not save
Wow.
somebody.
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's two-sided.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, there's bad ones and good ones. Just and they seem very moody.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They really do seem moody. For the most part,
Yeah.
though, they want to be, they keep to themselves. But if you tick them off, they're going to let you know it. And
Yeah.
that's the strange thing, is when they keep to themselves. Like, I go out camping, nothing's going on, nothing really happened. And then at nighttime, it sounds like someone's walking around my camp or going through my stuff. It's like, what the heck? I thought they wanted to be left alone.
Wow.
I've had that happen several times. I can't say it was Bigfoot, but I don't know what else would make footstep sounds like that and go through my stuff. It almost reminds me, like one of the instances reminds me of the movie Tarzan, when all the little gorillas are going through the camp and they're just like messing with everything. That's what it sounded like. It blew my mind when I woke up and checked everything, because I knew there was going to be a mess. Everything was left the way I had it. Like nothing was moved. It's like, what could make
Oh,
that much
wow.
noise? And like nothing seems disturbed, out of place. Nothing's missing. What the hell just happened?
Wow. Wow, that's cool.
Have you ever laid down in your tent and all of a sudden you started hearing things?
Um, no, not well. No, they've always done it when I've been outside, or they do it when I'm sleeping, they come in. One time they came up and touched my tent one time, and they pushed their finger in and just ran it across the tent. And it wasn't even dark yet.
Oh wow.
And that was scary. That was early on.
I've heard that
Um,
from other people, like almost like they're feeling the material, like they're fascinated by the material.
yeah, yeah. That's what it was too. That's I'm almost sure that's what it was. You never really know what they're up to, but
hmm I
you
feel
can
like we're the
guess.
same way. Like if we go to the mall or something and we see clothes, like we feel it. Like, ooh, is this one soft? If you're looking at covers or something, like you just kind of try to check it out. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on in their mind?
But it is foreign to them. You got to think like they're not used to touching stuff like that.
No, they're not used to polyester.
Hmm.
I think that's what they're making these tents out of.
Yeah. Maybe there's something that they spray on it that attracts these things.
It could be. Oh, it could be. Yeah, it could be the smell.
Yeah. It does have a smell to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's so many questions.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
amazing. It's amazing how elusive they are. They do not want to just sit down and talk and be like, this is what's going on.
Hmm.
Like I'll take a picture of a footprint and then I'll go back the next day and they'll have it covered. They'll cover it up. Like if if I see a footprint and leave it alone, I can come back a week later, that footprint will still be there. But if I take a picture of it, it's gone. I don't understand it. They don't want their pictures of their footprints taken. They don't want their pictures taken. They avoid the trail cameras.
No, yeah.
I don't understand either why they would do everything they can to avoid all these trail cams and cell phones.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing is like a lot of skeptics always ask me if these things really do exist, why aren't there any photos, any bodies? Why hasn't anyone hit one with like a truck? And it's like, I don't know. Like I've seen these things, I know they're out there, and these are still questions that I ask myself. Like, how can something that big remain elusive, or like how has no one found one? Like it doesn't make sense. Like I've seen them and I still ask myself those questions. So when people ask me, it's like I don't know. They're out there though.
Yeah. Well, that I think they go through portals. Honestly, I think they got other places they go to. Why I think they can just jump out of here.
Hmm.
They can just leave when they want.
Yeah, as
They can
crazy
come.
as that sounds, that would be the most logical explanation. And I've seen the orbs in the woods along with Bigfoot activity, and I feel like that is a key as to what's going on. Have you seen any orbs in the woods?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen three of them. I seen one, and then it it was like the size of a beach ball, and it was like a dim blue light. It was in the middle of the night, and then it had all these little black dots on kind of the outside of it. And then two more little ones came out of it, and then they just disappeared. And the Bigfoot activity was insane that night. Like like you couldn't even sleep that night. They were so making noise at the river. So I don't know something about the orbs, and then they were real active.
Yeah.
There's weird energy stuff going on.
Hmm. I don't think it's swamp gas. I feel like these creatures are producing the orbs, and either that's the portal opening or these things are able to like manipulate energy.
Yeah, I think they can. I think that's why they stay in these areas that are so remote because they don't actually have to walk through them.
Yeah. I wonder
Because
if that same phenomenon is like what's being studied at Area 51 or at CERN, if that's what they're reproducing or replicating.
oh man, if they could make a Bigfoot soldier, that'd be something to mess with there. That'd be crazy. Because they're saying these things can outrun deer. They can. Yeah, I've seen one move. Like I'm almost certain they can run faster than a deer
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
because they're like blurry when they want to move. It,
Hmm.
it it's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Ha- Have you seen one cloak yet where it's like clear, like see through, but it's like there's a shape there?
I haven't seen that, but I've had like something invisible walk up several times in different areas, and it just sounded like a big lumberjack walking in the woods. And this is in the wintertime when there's no leaves, and you can hear it definitely bipedal, and it's like only 30 or 40 yards away from me, and you can see way farther than that, like farther into the woods, and it's like, what the hell? And even the other people around me are like, do you hear that? And another time it was the juvenile. He hid behind a tree really fast, and I looked left and right of the tree. He was just gone. He didn't, like, you couldn't hear him running like a deer or like a person running through the woods. Once he hid behind the tree, that was it. Another time there was a juvenile. He grunted and he blew, kind of like how deer blow when they get
Yeah.
spooked. He did that, but when I looked over, there was this brown figure, and it looked like somebody threw like dust up into the wind, like it just poof gone. So I don't know if that was speed or supernatural abilities. Maybe it was both.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what happened with that other juvenile. It growled at me and laughed, and then I didn't even blink when I was walking up to that bush, and I got up to it. There was nothing there. I'm like, I was kind of depressed about it. I was like, man, he was just here. I was gonna see him, and then there's nothing there. I'm like, oh my gosh. It was, but yeah. So, well, I got one more quick story, I guess. The So early on when I started, I was researching it, and then I heard a tree knock above me, and then I heard real fast tree knocks to the other side of the river, and then I researched it, and I'm like, all right. I heard when they knock fast, that means there's a family group. So I'm like, I didn't understand any of their abilities. So I'm like, all right, maybe if the family group's there, maybe Grandpa Bigfoot's got a bad knee and I can catch up to somebody. so I'm like, as soon as I get back there, I go around and then I cut across the river where I think I got a chance of sneaking up to them. And then I've been in this area 100 times. And then I cross the river and then I go up into the brush, and then everything turns kind of dark, like it's real thick, and it's not supposed to be. It's weird. And then so I see the light, like not too far, so I keep walking, and then it opens up, and then there's these there's these like orbs, and they're like short, wide, like pointy worms. There's like five of them floating around. And then I'm like, man, this is everything was weird. It was super weird. And then because I think what happened is I ended up walking into a portal. I think I think that when I tried to sneak up on them, they hopped through a portal, and I ended up going through it too. And then in the opening, and then I ended up getting they hit me with it. I felt weird. I felt like it was like a higher altitude. Everything felt off, like it was overwhelming. And then I got hit with infrasound, and then I felt like I was going to throw up. I got hit so hard with infrasound. So then I bent over to because I thought I was going to throw up, and then I seen my footprint, and then the ground was soft, so I just followed it back. I just followed each footprint till I crossed the river and got back. So I'm pretty much sure that they're hopping through portals and ended up somewhere else. I didn't know where I was. Like it was weird. It was like the whole environment changed. Like where I was supposed to be, I wasn't there. I mean, that was a lot to handle. So I think what's happening is too when they're leaving, they're going to this higher dimension, to the 5G, to the fifth dimension. And then that's why they're turning into orbs and stuff, because it's a higher dimension. And then where they are, since it's a higher dimension, it's not physical. And then there's not enough food there. So what they're doing is they're coming here to get food, and then they hop back and forth. They go from here to wherever that place was. I don't know if it was I don't know where it was. I just know I never been there before. And it didn't feel right.
No, yeah. Absolutely. I've heard that a lot from people that I've interviewed in the past, missing time, missing a missing place, and it's definitely spooky. A lot of the people that I've spoken to from Michigan, a lot of them believe that it's supernatural, and it's pretty cool. Up north, a lot more people believe in the Sasquatch and other cryptids and the supernatural as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's things going on that we don't understand. And there's a lot of it's all over the place. Like these things are all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They're all over the planet.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. So that tells me that it's a global phenomenon, and these things are something ancient. They've been here for a long time.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think they've been here a really long time, and I think they've naturally evolved to everything, to nature.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if the Yowie is in Australia, it's like how would they get there? And they're still putting up X structures, leaving rocks as gifts. The same activity that we're experiencing here. They'll break the necks of kangaroos. It's the same thing that we're seeing here in the United States.
Yeah, and I think that's big too. Like they're using their minds, what we're using technology for. Like they can communicate with their minds. They don't need to use language. I think that's why a lot of them, they probably don't talk real well because they don't even need to.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like a lot of the technology that we have, it's essentially just replicating nature, whether it's like a helicopter similar to like a dragonfly or a bird being similar to a plane. I mean, these things already have those abilities. Like they already have like a 5G network in their brain, and they don't
Yeah.
need a smartphone, and they don't need a
Yeah.
car because they can possibly like teleport or go into other
Yeah.
dimensions.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, and it's just it's so cool. Like it keeps me going back in the woods. It's like, man, I wonder what's gonna happen next.
Yeah. Same here.
Because you don't know. You never know what's gonna happen.
Hmm. But I almost like that unknown. Like, wonder what's
I
going to
do.
happen on this trip. Like, am I going to get attacked? Is something going to happen? Are they going to come out and communicate with me? It's just like, who knows? Anything could happen. Am I going to see a different cryptid, something that's not Bigfoot? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, that and the dreams. They can get in your dreams too, I think.
Yeah. I've heard that
That's
from a
why.
lot of people as well. I actually had somebody contact me that I had recently on the channel, and they said they had a strange dream about Sasquatch.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hmm.
You haven't had any yet?
I've only had one dream in my life about Bigfoot, and it was a pretty scary one. Actually, it was pretty strange because I had this dream where we were doing research at a guy. He passed away now, but his name was Dennis, and he was having a lot of Bigfoot activity. But in my dream, we were there and we were by the power line strip, and this jet black Sasquatch came out of the bottom, up the ridge, and towards the power line strip, and we were all terrified, like we had to get out of there. But the strange thing was, when it walked, its hands were blurry. And I woke up and I was like sweating really bad. And I was like, holy crap, I just had a Sasquatch dream. And then my
Wow.
friend Joe, that was doing research there with me, he messaged me right when I woke up and said, I just had the craziest dream about Bigfoot. And I tried making a big deal about it, but he acted like it was no big deal. I was like, dude, I just had a dream about Bigfoot. He was just like, oh, weird. Who knows, though?
Wow.
Just kind of weird timing, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but after seeing them, I didn't really have like any nightmares. I never had dreams about them. Just that one dream at the property that I was doing research at.
Yeah, that's good.
What about
I
you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I had dreams. I had nightmares for like 2 years.
really? Tell me
After
about it.
Yeah, after seeing the orangutan one, colored one. Yeah, they just and almost every night or a lot of times they I'd be dreaming of something and then they just run up and stand in front of me like eye to eye. They'd be like how far? Like 2 foot from my face. It's the same one. And then it got to the point where it was weird, like the dream evolved. Like it got to where because then I'd like freak out, try and hit him and stuff. And then after a while he'd run up, look at me, and then he'd just run up, grab me and pick me up and look at me so I couldn't do nothing. I'm like, oh, well, I can't do nothing. And then I ended up just basically making peace with him. And then now the dreams are a lot better. Like like I'll literally have a dream about walking through the woods and one will walk right by me, like 20 feet away. And then I'll be like going to do my thing in the woods and he'll just walk by and go do his thing. I'm like, man, that's cool. I'm like, that's the way it should be. Like, we should be able to just go out in the woods and then they should just fish or whatever they're doing. And we should just be able to do our stuff, whatever we're doing. And it should be fine. That would be awesome. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the biggest thing, I think the dream thing is a lot of for safety because it's safe for them and it's safe for us. I mean, we might get scared of the dream or whatever, but nobody's going to get hurt. Like they're not going to get hurt. We're not going to get hurt from it.
hmm I saw an interview with an elder Native American, and he said that we're in the fourth stage on this planet, which is like the last stage, similar to like how Christians believe like the end times. But he said in this fourth stage, the Sasquatch will begin to reveal themselves and they'll also start communicating with certain individuals, and they'll even start communicating by getting into people's dreams,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good way to do things if you think about it. Like if you got that ability,
Yeah.
like
Especially if you're
that would,
elusive and you don't want direct communication, like how we talk back and forth. Like, what better way than by entering our dreams?
yeah, I mean, and it's safe for everybody. I'm like, I thought about that. I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool.
Mhm.
That's
That's when you're like the most vulnerable. That's when it's just like you time, not when you're like busy throughout your day thinking and got too much going on. Like, it's nothing but just you inside your mind.
yeah, 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 and that's crazy that they can like pop in there when they,
hmm
it's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because you're in like a trance from dreaming. I don't know all the stages. There's a bunch of stages to dreaming and all that.
Yeah. Definitely vulnerable when you're sleeping.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of solo stuff or you go with groups?
Mm, I mainly go solo, but here lately I've been going with like other people. I wouldn't say groups, but just like one or two people. I have gone with like bigger groups. I just don't like it. I don't like being out there with too many people because there's too much noise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think too.
hmm I just can't hear, like, there's stuff going on in the woods, but with so many people talking, it's just like I can't even hear anything that's happening out there. Maybe that's selfish, but that's just how I am.
No, that's how I do it. I don't like going out with like I like going out myself, really. they seem to act different. They're way more active.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's like when I'm by myself, they're a lot more active.
Yeah, they're well, the cool part is I started to listen to you, and then like, well, I'd listen to the stories people were telling, and then you'd ask them questions. I'd be like, man, he's asking the questions I was just thinking of. I was like, that's cool. I was like, I gotta get a hold of this guy.
Well, I'm glad you did. You definitely had a lot of information to share. What's your favorite thing about the Sasquatch Theory YouTube channel?
Um, it's really the eyewitnesses stories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
I love hearing everybody's story, and then I try and learn what I can from it.
Yeah. Because like we can only learn so much by getting out there. I mean, no doubt the only way you're really going to learn about them is being out in the woods and experiencing the activity, but we hear things in other people's reports that we haven't experienced and we're like, huh, I wonder if that's possible. And like years down the road you experience the same thing and it's like, wow, it's exactly what that person was talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to wrap this up.
Yeah,
Got a lot
absolutely.
going on.
Okay. Well, Matthew, I appreciate you for contacting me and sharing your experiences, and it was certainly a pleasure to speak with you tonight.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you too.
Okay. Well, if you run into anything else, man, you reach out to me.
All right, thanks. You take it easy.
Yep. Thank you, and you take care.
Mathew's encounters were truly amazing to listen to, and I wish I could have heard more about the sighting encounters, but I'm glad he shared the ones that he did on the channel. And it definitely raises a lot of questions about what may truly exist deep within the forest of Michigan. Whether you believe these creatures are flesh and blood beings, something paranormal, or a mixture of both, his experiences are difficult to ignore. The wilderness still holds many mysteries, and stories like this remind us just how little we truly understand about the world around us. Thank you all for watching Sasquatch Theory, and again, if you have a Bigfoot encounter that you would like to share with me here on Sasquatch Theory, feel free to reach out sometime at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. If you would like to join the membership today to help support the channel and the research out in the field, you can now do so, and I would really appreciate that. And also, there is the PayPal donate if you guys want to help with new equipment. And yeah, all the money does go towards research and keeping the channel running. So I appreciate those who have donated in the past through the PayPal. And if you want to help donate equipment, you can use the Amazon wish list, and you can find that in the description of my videos. So use that if you would like, and if you can't do anything like that, that's completely fine. You watching these videos is all the support that I need, and it really helps the channel out, and I'm just glad that you guys find this information useful. And like I said in the podcast, we hear strange things that happen out in the woods, and later on down the road, we experience it ourselves. So these podcasts are definitely helping people out, and I appreciate those who have shared their experiences in the past. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until the next Bigfoot or cryptid report, you guys be safe out in the woods.